warehouse to carry, then you will definitely
across the globe. But the rule of the thumb as an answer to this is very simple. As I said in the beginning, when the growth is good, everybody wants to enter and everybody wants to create capacities and sell. But two things that we need to really keep watching. For book businesses, I think it can keep on going even in the downturn. And I think if you look at Amazon's story, it's very clearly indicative that it's a good business to be in. But if you extrapolate that to manufacturing, there are two things that would happen. Do businesses understand their base demand? If you look at data that you get, first of all, you have to understand that all businesses would have some history. If they are in the business, they are doing okay, they would have history. You need to look at historical data and look at this. I'll tell you why. Let's look at Asian Paints. Now, paint is a very volatile business given the kind of macroeconomic fluctuations that can cause paint industry to go into problems. What did they do? The first level of things that they did was that peak to average demand, meaning that in Indian market, you always see that there's a huge demand for paints during the Diwali season, or maybe slightly a peak even in Christmas, and then in the May and July because of the marriage season, or February also. Now, they have understood this static data, and they have planned for this particular seasonality in such a way that whatever data comes back, they at least know the base, and they play around the base. They wouldn't take too much of a risk if something happens. And if something happens, some data, some demand generates, and it's better to let it off go because it is aberrations to the trend that you have been seeing, and it could be that if you can meet the demand, you have the supply, you can, otherwise this is where you are. The second level of demand. Now again, as I said, most businesses go on euphoric linear growth. Do you understand what are your drivers for growth? Are you really disaggregating your macroeconomic drivers of the growth and then seeing which is a variable to be watched out? For instance, one of the very simplest thing is in this country that demand for paint should increase if the agricultural growth is high. Demand for cement would also increase. I think there's a linear trend. If AC Nielsen data, you see these things. Nobody plans for this. Can you simply create a model for yourself where you, for instance, when we work for Mahindra Tractors, some 10 years back, we gave them 3 variables. We said there are only 3 variables that's important for your tractors. Is the rate at which the GDP of agriculture grows. The second is amount of money available with the banks to be loaned out to anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry to buy tractors. And third is the interest rate. They said, no, we need 100 variables. I said, very simple. You will be doing double counting. And so you have to understand what are the variables which drive this. And third, you need to have this flexible capacity to react to the demand that comes from. Data has to be actually disaggregated into static, dynamic, and uncertain. Most businesses keep it as an aggregate data. And in aggregate demand, your variability may seem very low. With disaggregate, the variability increases, meaning that you may be very happy to plan in aggregate way, but you are losing a lot of your markets in either stock out or deficit. And if they stock out or surpluses that are at the same time, and this could be a mirage to you. And these all can be tackled only when you train your workforce. In fact, Ashok said something very interesting. If you don't let the workforce understand data and create data, and you respect their data creation ability and reward for them, why the hell he would create data for matter? He will always tell you the lies because the marketing head would say that, okay, this is your target which is going to determine everything. So he would always, future, what they would actually do is that forward sell it with the help of the distributor and have a great wine and dine situation and see what it comes. But you will never get the right kind of data at the right point of time. And these are certain things. So the second level is that please strengthen your structures, processes, and linkages. It's a managerial issue, not just a data issue. Manage data, manage your structure. Third, build partnership, as Ashok rightly said, across the supply chain where each and everyone sees same schedule and part, a single forecast. That minimizes your inventory, doesn't do away with it. There are other factors which will always be operating. So you minimize your cost of supply chain inefficiencies, and you make your supply chain more efficient. It cannot be totally efficient, but you can definitely do this. So data is not a challenge. Do you have Readability of data. I have seen so many organizations who do not even have a single dedicated demand plan. Who is the owner of the forecast in an organization? Someone will say sales, someone will say marketing, someone will say supply chain, someone will say demand planner, and someone will say finance. In fact, I have worked in my career only with German companies, multinationals. They do all the forecasting, and one fine day that there's a budget which comes from Germany, says this is the budget for India market. Your whole forecast goes for a toss. Whole data goes for a toss. Whole your strategy goes for a toss. Now, businesses need to realize that it has to be understood. Okay. And I'll tell you, all businesses are information business today. I think Yvonne's Intruder in a brilliant book called Blown to Bits says all businesses are information business. They're not logistics or manufacturing or education businesses. Do you understand your information? And that's very critical.
Ron, you do warehouse simulation as well. How do you harness data to meet fluctuations in demand when you do warehouse design and simulation?
Yeah, the software has the software has the ability to look at peaks and troughs, and it's interesting. Different industries and sectors. I use, for example, the vacuum cleaner. The manufacturer Dyson. I don't know if you've heard of Dyson. 2 days a month, their output doubles, just on 2 days. So their material handling requirements have to be orientated around just those 2 days. The rest of that month really is redundant in comparison to, from a simulation standpoint, we don't even simulate it because we need to talk about the 2 days. So it depends on the type of application and what the, again, peaks and troughs are of where they go, what they do, whether it's seasonal, whether it's, and it's unusual. I mean, for me personally, I can't understand why a company like Dyson would have 2 days where they have double the output. It makes no logical sense, but it's just the way that some industries are.
Ashok,
please. I think this is one of the major fallacies. Sometimes we marry our information to supply chain algorithm. Now, I think one of the best things that I have seen in my researches is you do a rolling plan. So you take the first 3 months and then forecast the 4th month. If the 4th month is volatile and not based on the first 3 months, you are dead. And Indian market, Ron, is a very, very, very complex market. The world within India is not flat. World within India is curved. And if it is curved, then no kind of supply chain simulation or algorithm which is predetermined can work here. And this is why you have to keep your eyes open to understand market dynamics and ups and downs. Even for LSP or warehousing provision, I clearly see that there's a lot of things that you need to do to streamline your understanding of demand fluctuations and volatility. And I have seen most businesses blame the supply chain suits now, the information, because they say we invested so much and now we are not getting the right forecast. Now it is not about supply chain suit. Is supply chain suit married to the organizational capability? That's the question. Do you have the capability to use it the way you want, or you're using the way it wants you to dictate? And these are two things that we need to differentiate in terms of information management.
Just to make a comment, just to clarify that when we talk about, from our perspective, simulations, we talk about within the warehouse, but not the actual simulating a forecast of a market or things like that. Yeah, I agree with you.
You can use simulation to verify certain situations, but you cannot create a situation using simulation. So no, to the limit you could possibly simulate it and see whether it is going to create a bottleneck within your supply chain or not. You can't really look at creating situations using that. Yeah.
Okay. In fact, simulation is static.
Okay. Fair enough. I'd come quickly to the last question because we've almost run out of time. One very important factor that plays a role in meeting growth demands is quality of people. Especially in India, we have a paucity of skilled people. And I'd want the concluding remarks from Dr. Singh, but before that, I'd come to you, Ashok. Are you grappling with this situation of scarcity of quality people?
Very much. Very much. I mean, it is not necessarily, with us as a particular business. I mean, it's every business. Every business